Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kathy Lynch, representing the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the Outdoor Sportsmen's Coalition, Safari Club International, and California Sportsmen's Lobby, all in opposition to the bill. And I, too, was here during the original assault weapon ban. Thank you.
A lot of seniors here today.
Craig DeLuz with the Firearms Policy Coalition, not a senior and in opposition to this measure.
All right.
Hi there. Mark Henley with the California Waterfowl Association. We represent hunters, landowners, and wildlife conservation interests, and we're in strong opposition. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Will Clark. I'm a peace officer, and I also own a firearms range, and I'm in strong opposition to this bill.
Good morning. Roy Griffith on behalf of California Rifle and Pistol Association. Oppose.
Dexter Popper from Marysville. 2.5 years in Vietnam. I oppose.
Ken Greenwood from Placerville, California, firearms instructor. And yes, I was at the hearings many years ago, and I heard them say that we could possess these guns. Plus, these firearms have been pointed at everybody nearly in the room, and I must object under standard gun handling rules that all guns are always loaded, and therefore you never point them at anything you do not wish to kill or destroy. You're in firing line. I'm confused.
Mr. Chair and members, Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association in opposition.
Thank you. Perhaps I could have our special agent just describe why how these guns are not a threat at the moment.
Sure. The yellow chamber flags are expressly purchased to have a visual indicator. They actually have a tail that goes down 3 inches or so into the chamber and barrel. So that's what we use during our training events, just to have everyone be more comfortable with the firearms.
Yes. So for the second to last witness, we appreciate what you've had to say, and that's why we're also only having the special agent handle them. So we've had witnesses in support and opposition. Who would like to have a question or statement? Mr. Lackey.
Yeah, I'll just make a quick statement. I won't be able to support this particular measure because I truly believe our weapons policy focus needs to be on behavior versus instrumentality. I can tell you by experience that criminals adapt to instrument statutes with relative ease. I don't believe these types of regulatory proposals have any meaningful impact on criminal conduct, and so I'll be in opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Lackey. Mrs. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I am reviewing here the veto message that the governor put out for the last time this bill came through, which states that while the author's intent is to strengthen these restrictions, this bill goes much further by banning any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine. He goes on to say hundreds of thousands of current gun owners would have to register their rifles as assault weapons and would be banned from the selling or transferring them in the future. We know that gun deaths have gone down, not up. We certainly do have some very strong gun laws in California. But we have been, the legislature, tinkering with this definition for about 24 years now. And the past 3 attorneys general have all been okay with the current definition. So I would have to side with the law as it stands and say that we probably don't need to further expand it. So I won't be able to support your bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Just a second.
Yeah.
You haven't been asked a question.
Oh, but I do want to respond to...
in the close, you can answer.
Okay.
You didn't ask a question. I'm sorry.
But she made a misstatement.
Did you ask a question?
I did not ask a question, and I think, Mr. Chairman, though I, appreciate a good debate, now's not the time, and whether or not Mr. Levine thinks I made a misstatement is up to interpretation. So I don't know that we need to.
All right. So you can get
close.
this in your close. Don't worry. Anyone else with a question or a comment? Mr. Jones-Sawyer, thank you.
I'm familiar with some weapons, and there's this statement about without disassembling a firearms action. So I've seen how quickly you can get it out with a bullet button, But when it says disassemble, how? I mean, I don't know what that means. And can you demonstrate? Can you
The author,
demonstrate
this is a question.
how long will it take to disassemble versus the bullet button?
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Or
Levine.
show it to me before I make a statement.
So I'm not prepared to handle.
Perhaps the
gun.
special agent could say something.
May I touch the guns again, sir?
Please do.
Okay, on the particular weapons that are here, I'm actually going to have to take the chamber flag out to show the disassembly of this action. So, if with permission, or if you'd rather I not, then I'll leave it.
I'd rather you didn't.
I'm sorry.
But how long would it take, approximately? What's the difference in time?
In this particular weapon, just disassembly of the action could be as simple as a couple of pins, so less than a minute.
Less than a minute, but more than 30 seconds?
Potentially, depending on how sticky the pins are.
More than 30 seconds?
I can try.
No, I'd rather not. I'm just a little antsy around guns. I'm sorry. I just would rather not.
May I demonstrate without removing the chamber?
Oh,
flag?
sure,
I'll
absolutely.
try to do my best with that.
Okay.
Again, so this weapon system, if I was able to pull this chamber flag out, the bolt would go forward. I would then push a pin right about here, push it through. It would sort of hinge open. And that, in a sense, would be the quick and dirty way of disassembly action on this style weapon. There are various other weapon systems that are completely different, but on this system, that would be sort of enough to get you in that ballpark.
Okay. So I think the point here is that if it's a room full of people and there's somebody brave enough to go after the person who has the gun, it's possible when there's a disassembly to do that, when there's a bullet button, particularly if you've got just that magnetic attachment, you probably don't have a chance to rush the person with the gun.
I can say in general the reloading process is much longer if there's an action that has to be disassembled, I think, to answer your question.
Okay. Thank you.
So, you know, and I'm real sensitive to the Second Amendment rights, and hopefully one day we have an honest discussion about coming with a compromise. Obviously, this is not 1776 or 1812. This is not a movie, and we don't need a militia. I don't think anyone's coming down from Canada to attack this country. But I am sensitive, because I do sporting, shooting, so I am sensitive to people who want to do hunting and sporting. And I agree with Mr. Lackey. I agree with Mr. Lackey on a lot of things, not just marijuana, but a lot of different things.
Medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana. That we do need to have more laws for dealing with people with mental problems so that they don't have access to it. But when I look at these, I'm looking at it in this prism. As one of my colleagues who's here today to present will tell you, I have to look at a 1-year-old by the name of Autumn Johnson, who was shot in her crib by a 23-year-old, Ray Patterson, and his home around the corner is a bullet-ridden home. And he fired into the home. If he had the ability to fire more weapons, what would that be like? And it's not just the innocent 1-year-olds and victims of that, but also Ashley Gwendon, a 28-year-old Prince Williams County Police Department officer on her first day of work, was shot along with 2 other officers who were wounded, and she was killed. A tragedy by someone that, if they had the opportunity to reload again and again and again, I don't know if those other 2 officers would have survived. The suspect's wife was killed, and a Ronald Williams Hamilton, 32 years old. Ultimately, you now have an 11-year-old who was in there who's now going to be an orphan, all because of people using weapons. And so as I'm debating between the two, it becomes really difficult about making sure that we don't take away people's rights to be able to defend their homes, to be able to do sporting or even hunting. I also have this prism that I'm looking at where I don't want to see another police officer who's thoroughly trained on what to do with their weapon getting killed. And I hope I never see that again. And so with that firmly in my mind, those two instances, especially the police officers, young female police officer, I'm going to vote for this bill today.
All right. Mr. Levine, is there anyone else? Then, Mr. Levine, you may close.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for conducting an orderly proceeding here. I respect that a great deal. I want to thank everyone who came to participate in the public hearing, my witnesses, the members who are considering the bill. The point that I had wanted to make is that I also respect the homework that Madam Vice Chair had done in considering this bill. But the veto message, and I don't always agree with the governor, and this is the case here, the veto message actually does not apply to the bill that is before you. That veto message was for a different bill that was before the governor. This bill had never been before the governor. So in closing, AB 1664 will strengthen California law and send the clear message that military-style weapons, which were first banned by the legislature in 1989, have no place in our communities. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
All right. So I would then like to make my statement. First of all, there's a question about whether or not Roberti would have included this in his bill if he'd known about it. I don't really care. We can decide now what we want to do. We don't have to go back to Mr. Roberti. Second question is, are these useful hunting weapons? If you're going out to kill a deer, the maximum size magazine is 7 bullets. So you're not going to be going after deer with military weapons. So maybe it's rabbits, and you wouldn't have much of a rabbit left if you use this. So I think the idea that this is for hunting is absurd. Nonetheless, I do realize that there are people who feel quite differently than I do. But as far as I'm concerned, these are weapons for killing people, not for sportsmanship. And I think that in a target shooting practice, asking someone to reload a magazine is in a more difficult way is a reasonable thing to ask. If it can prevent someone from being able to very quickly reload in a dangerous situation where officers could be killed or no chance for bystanders or officers to prevent further reloading and further killing. So I think this is a quite reasonable bill. It has an aye recommendation. The motion is... Oh, do we have a motion? So moved by Mr. Sawyer, second by Ms. Lopez. And the motion is due pass to appropriations. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Quirk?
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Melendez? Melendez, no. Jones Sawyer?
Aye.
Jones Sawyer, aye. Lackey?
No.
Lackey, no. Lopez? Lopez, aye. Lowe? Santiago? Santiago, aye. That bill's out 4-2.
Bill is out 4-2. Thank you very much, Mr. Levine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
All right. If Mr. Gibson is... would you mind if we did the fixed magazine bill next? Because that is more relevant. Thank you very much. Mr. Santiago, I understand you're going to do the fixed magazine bill? No, who is going to do it? For Mr. Chu. So Mr. Chu is very fortunate. He and his wife had a baby last night, baby boy, I understand. So obviously it's not appropriate that he be here. So Mr. Santiago will present on a bill. Now this is a different approach. Clearly at the end only one of these two regulations would stand. We wish to give the governor a choice down the line if he likes either one of these.
Is this item number 4,
Okay, item number 4, AB 1663.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Today I'm presenting AB 1663 on behalf of Assemblymember Chu, who now is a proud father to a healthy baby boy. But on a more sober note, let me get to the business at hand. Research shows that the majority of assailants in tragedies like Sandy Hook and San Bernardino obtained their firearms legally. Another common factor in these mass shootings is that the shooter had ability to detach their magazines and rapidly reload. Over the years, since California passed the original assault ban's weapon, gun manufacturers have repeatedly modified the firearms they produce to evade the law and continue the sale of so-called California compliant weapons. In recent years, the gun industry has developed another workaround the state ban with the creation of the bullet button, which allows magazines to be detached and replaced easily with illegal assault weapons. Because this device or tool is needed to detach the magazine, such firearms are legal under the current language of the state's assault weapons ban. Assemblymember Chu has introduced AB 1663, which will limit the easy access to semi-automatic weapons, which have the ability to rapidly reload. In short, it would prevent anyone who wants to have the power to have a virtually limitless ability to kill. This bill specifically prohibits a future sale, purchase, or manufacture, importation, or transfer of California semi-automatic rifles that can accept detachable magazines. We have one witness who will briefly speak on it, Sally Espinoza, who is a Deputy Attorney General representing the AG's office. And we also have a second witness from the Bradley campaign.
All right, 4 minutes for the witnesses. Please begin.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Sally Espinoza, Deputy Attorney General, on behalf of Kamala Harris, here as proud sponsors of this legislation. The Attorney General has been a strong leader in advocating for thoughtful measures to reduce gun violence. Under her leadership, the department has worked tirelessly to remove firearms from prohibited individuals who shouldn't have them. And I won't belabor the point. We've all heard about the tragedies that have occurred with firearms and have created a great deal of violence and tragedy. This is a common sense and thoughtful measure, and the Attorney General thanks and commends Assemblymember Chu for bringing this legislation forward and urges an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amanda Wilcox, again on behalf of the 27 chapters of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, 27 California chapters. You know, I'm often asked, why are there so many gun laws in California? I mean, why do I still have work to do as a volunteer driving down to Sacramento from Nevada County? The first assault weapons ban was passed in '89 after the Stockton schoolyard shooting. In '91, they had to update the ban because of copycat weapons, and then in 1999 they switched to the features. We have to keep doing these laws because the gun interests are very clever at getting around our laws. And my fear is that that will happen again. And what this bill tries to do is the definitive final fix, which just says, yes, the important feature is the ability to rapidly reload and maintain that constant fire from a powerful weapon. And the final fix is just to say that centerfire rifles are going to have a fixed magazine. I think that will take care of the problem. And as I alluded to before on the last bill, one of the important parts of this is that, again, we will capture records of who has these weapons. The retention of long gun records by DOJ did not go into effect until January 1, 2014. So there's a lot of weapons that were acquired before then that we don't know about. And I think we all agree that dangerous people shouldn't have weapons, to your earlier point. And in particular, they shouldn't have weapons that are powerful and have this rapid reload capability. So capturing the records, as the bill provides, is a very important aspect for keeping weapons, particularly dangerous weapons, out of dangerous hands. I urge your aye vote.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support?
Pam Girizzo, Sacramento chapter of the Brady Campaign, in support. Thank you.
Mimi Budd, Sacramento chapter of the Brady Campaign, in support. Thank you.
Ari Freilich, on behalf of the Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, in strong support.
Deborah Worth, Grass Valley, California, Brady Campaign, strongly support.
Maddie Hyatt, California Civil Liberties Advocacy, in strong support.
Diane
And Summer Citrus Heights, Sacramento Brady campaign, strong support.
Ed Patterson, member of Grass Valley Brady campaign, strongly support.
Nick Wilcox on behalf of the Nevada County chapter of the Brady campaign in strong support.
Griffin Dix, Oakland, Alameda County chapter of the Brady campaign, strong support.
Mike Garrett, Rancho Murrieta, Brady campaign, I strongly support.
Elise Furman, Sacramento, Brady campaign, strongly support.
Reese Donaldson, Elk Grove, Sacramento Brady campaign chapter, strongly support.
Thank you. If the Brady campaign and the Attorney General's office, I think actually you can stay if we only have 2 witnesses. We only have, all right, you're going to get up, fine. All right, thank you very much, witnesses, and we'll be glad to hear from you. Who would like to go first? You would like to go first?
I'll switch off, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. NRA, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Ed Worley with the National Rifle Association. Now we've gotten to the other side of the coin. Now we've gotten to the true agenda. We were told here earlier today that we couldn't have these because these are bad because they're like military-style assault weapons. The advocates of the Brady campaign said these guns are bad because they have pistol grips and evil military features. These guns are bad because they're modeled after military firearms. Now they've crossed the Rubicon. Now what they're asking for is a complete and total ban on all semi-automatic rifles that have any kind of detachable feeding device, which includes, as many of the members of the committee ask about, hunting rifles, classic hunting rifles, rifles that have been around for over 100 years. We are talking about criminalizing tens of millions of people in the state of California. Through the 25 years I've been with NRA in California, what I have seen time and time again are the gun control advocates come here and lie. Now we've truly seen, and now we're truly seeing what their agenda is. Their agenda is to use any excuse they can, to use any marketing they can to try to gain a wedge. Well, now they're going for everything. This bill talks about banning any semi-automatic rifle that has a detachable feeding device. I could sit here and show you pictures of all classic firearms that you would look at and say, this is the kind of rifle my grandfather owns. This is the kind of hunting rifle my uncle owns. What will happen is what's happened before. They say, oh, it's so very simple. All you have to do is register it. Well, there have been tens of thousands of people in the state of California who've been made criminals, not because they've done anything wrong. They've been made criminals because they didn't know they had to register the gun they thought was registered already. So when they have an interaction with law enforcement, they end up going to jail. Let me give you a specific example. A gentleman had a fire in his house. The fire department showed up and did a great job putting the fire out.
Excuse me.
They found a rifle.
Do you want to?
I yield my time to my colleague.
Fine,
Right.
no problem.
They found a rifle in the garage, which one of the deputy sheriffs thought was an assault weapon. So at the tragedy of his house burning down, he was then arrested and put in jail. We only found out about it because he called and asked us to come and help. The gun that he had wasn't even an assault weapon because it looked bad. He was arrested. Now we're going to go to the whole thing. You're going to have tens of millions of people in the state who are going to be criminalized, who, if they don't go and follow and go through all the JAGs and all the loopholes and everything else you got to do, and pay all the fees and do everything else they got to do, the simple mere possession of a rifle that's been in their family for generations will be made contraband and will be made a criminal act. So what you're going to have is you're going to have tens of millions of people going to get sucked into the judicial system in the state of California. The thing I find ironic right now in the legislature is there are many bills decriminalizing a whole series of things because we want to help empty the jails and stop the burden on the jails and the courts. What you're doing with this bill is you're going to flood the courts with hundreds of thousands of people whose mere crime has been they didn't know their grandfather's rifle had to be registered as an assault weapon. If you told them that the gun they're looking at was an assault weapon, they would laugh at you until you're crazy. So, if you look at the governor's veto message, this veto message is relevant because this bill is talking about criminalizing and banning traditional sporting firearms that nobody in their right mind would ever categorize as a military assault weapon because they're not. They don't have pistol grips. They don't have flash suppressors. They have none of the evil boogaboos we were told about when I was here with Senator Roberti. So now what we've done is said, if it looks evil, it's bad. Take these features off. Well, now we've taken the next step, which we've always said was going to happen. Now it doesn't matter what it looks like. If it's a semi-automatic rifle that has a detachable feeding device, you are going to ban it, and you're going to criminalize millions of people in this state.
If you could wrap up.
For all these reasons and many more that we've talked about, we oppose a bill and vehemently oppose a bill.
All right.
I'd like to add just one real quick
Sure.
point. According to the Attorney General, Harris, who is required by state law to provide you with a report on an annual basis of the guns that are used in the commissions of crime, the Attorney General can only account for 14 long guns of any type that were used in the commission of a crime in the state of California. The vast majority of crimes are not committed with any of these types of crimes, guns, but by handguns. As a matter of fact, it's pretty arguable to say that there are almost no crimes that have been reported to the state of California based on these types of guns.
Okay. Thank you. I know Mr. Santiago will have a response to that, and if you could just hold until we can ask you about that. So, other witnesses in opposition?
Craig DeLuz with the Firearms Policy Coalition in opposition.
Okay. I think you can use that microphone. Is the sergeant here? There we go.
Hi there, Mark Henley with California Waterfowl. Another point, this is going to curtail the ability of nonprofit conservation groups to auction or raffle off these firearms at their events for wildlife conservation purposes. So we are in opposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Roy Griffith on behalf of California Rifle and Pistol Association. Oppose.
Will Clark again, peace officer, owner of Downrange in Chico, California. Strongly opposed. This will be a loss of millions of dollars of revenue to the state.
That's the purpose of Maysville. Criminals will adapt to whatever laws you bring about, and will continue to do so. The Second Amendment is to protect citizens from a tyrannical government. Thank you.
Ken Greenwood, Placerville, firearms instructor. Once again, you're violating the rules here. But you're violating the rules by passing this bill, too. Second Amendment, real simple. And the criminals don't care about these silly laws. I hope you understand that. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and members, Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California State Sheriff's Association in opposition.
Thank you. Let's see, where to begin? Who would like to talk? Who would like to have a question first? Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the second gun control bill so far this morning, and I am already irritated. This idea that we're going to ban guns based on how they look is absurd. Do you know what's dangerous? Knives. Knives are dangerous. Do you know that more people are killed by knives than guns? 5 times more likely to get killed by a knife than a gun. Come on. Come on. Let's be realistic here about the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal, from far as I can tell, is we just want to ban guns outright. And that's not acceptable. The last time I checked, the legal document called the Constitution says we have the right to own a firearm. That hasn't changed. Okay? I don't think it's going to come as any surprise that I'm not going to be able to support this bill this morning. But I know you're not the author of the bill, so I'm not trying to pick on you. But can you answer, how will this bill reduce gun violence? Are you able to answer that? If not, it's okay. I can read through the analyses, but I want an answer not from any consultant, not from any other group. I want an answer from you.
I can answer it from a personal perspective. I'm not going to answer an official answer from the author, if you're okay with that, Madam
No,
Vice
that's
Chair.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah, from my perspective, look, I decided to be supportive of this because, quite frankly, any sort of weapon that can be used for mass destruction or killing is a threat to our security. And I'm sorry, my personal security. So I'd be supportive of a bill that reduces these types of guns on the street. There's no doubt about it. So if you're going to ask me, would I be supportive of something that eliminates this sort of gun? I don't see any reason outside of law enforcement or other sort of provisions that anybody needs a gun like this to shoot 20. I'm not a gun expert, so and I don't know guns like you do. I know that you're very versed in the Second Amendment. You're very versed in guns, and I'm not going to challenge you on a back and forth on guns. But nonetheless, I don't see any need why anybody needs something that's just going to do rapid fire and do hundreds of bullets. I don't.
Okay, and I appreciate your candor. Mr. Chairman, if I could just
of course.
Add one more thing. So the number of people who have been killed with a weapon like that is a much lower number than you may think. And there are more people who are killed by hammers and knives and baseball bats and everything else than those weapons right there. So I get the gut reaction that you feel that it's just not necessary for people to have these weapons. But I will tell you that the vast majority of people who are using these types of weapons are using them for training purposes. They're using them for target practice. It's a hobby. Some people like cooking. Some people like shooting targets. Okay? And it's not because they're using it as a weapon of mass destruction to go murder people. The reality is, we don't have a gun problem, we have a mental health problem, because a sane person does not go and kill people indiscriminately. A sane person doesn't do that. The gun is not the problem. You can have 10 pistols stuffed in your pocket and go do just as much damage. Perhaps maybe not as quickly, but you still can. You can create your own pipe bomb and toss it into a crowd. I mean, there are so many ways to murder and maim people if you choose to do so because you are not right in the head. The guns are not the problem. In fact, there have been more crimes thwarted because someone had a weapon than have been committed. No, I mean, we're talking about without even firing a shot. Okay? So I get it, we don't want to hear about these shootings. I get it, but I'm telling you, you're focusing on something that is that's not going to solve the problem. So I'm a no vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for indulging me.
Of course. Other comments and questions?
I just had a question. And
okay, Mr. Jones Sawyer.
And I'm not certain if you can answer it. And again, it's probably based on the vice chair's question. I know that the governor vetoed this. What is different, or what does the author think will happen that otherwise we're going down this road, we get to the governor again and he doesn't sign it? What are we doing differently, or why does the author believe that this time this is more palatable to the governor? And if you don't have the answer now, I will definitely let you hopefully get this out of committee, but I will reserve my vote on the floor until we know for certain that we go through all of this. And if the governor is going to veto it, I just don't want to go through this.
No, and I appreciate it. I hate to leave any member of the committee without an answered question, but I also know my limitation not to answer a motive question or something that's not factual on behalf of another member in respect of any member who sits in this office. But I'll tell you from my own perspective, the governor not signing something doesn't deter the legislature from continuing to battle for things that we believe are right, and certainly we've seen it over and over on a variety of different issues. So I don't think something not being signed one time is a clear indicator that a bill should not be carried next time. In fact, this committee once didn't support one of my bills, and we worked on it, and through an education process and some amendments that made the bill stronger, we took it up and we passed it. So I don't think the governor saying no in the past is a good reason to not proceed with an issue that we feel passionately about.
And just real quick, and that's exactly my point, Mr. Santiago. This committee had some questions. You worked with us so that we could get to the bill to a part where we could get it through the assembly, hopefully, and then hopefully for the governor to sign. I just want to make sure, and again, obviously you can't speak for the author, that by the time we get to the floor, that all of that is is worked out with the governor. Otherwise, I think it'll be very difficult to keep moving.
And I will relay that message.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Lackey?
Yeah, real quickly. I just, I'm a bit frustrated by the fact that, you know, I understand that weapons can be very threatening when they're not used in the manner in which they need to be used. Let's talk about just real quickly for probably even the bigger threat to our society in the form of a weapon is an automobile. And I can tell you that as a Highway Patrol member for 28 years, that's a very real weapon. And thankfully, I don't see the legislature regulating cars and focusing on cars, on how they kill people. And it's when an impaired driver kills somebody or an irresponsible driver kills somebody with a car, it's not called car violence. And I don't mean to be insulting, but I'm telling you, I just want you to know that I'm even frustrated by the term gun violence, because it takes away and it puts the blame on the instrument instead of the behavior. And I think that is a bad message. I think that we need to become completely intolerant of behavior that results in violence of any sort. The instrumentality needs to be respected and needs to be directly confronted when abused. However, but to merely focus on the instrument, I think, is a skewed perspective, and I find it disappointing, and I won't be able to support this measure.